Welcome back to another episode here on the Mindful Chiropractor Podcast. Excited to have you guys here. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode, as we're going to be dropping down as we do every other week. We're sharing something for you to help elevate in your practice, elevate as an associate, elevate as a student. But this is all about taking aspects of the mind, quantum realm, and so much more in business applications and principles to allow you to elevate, to show up to be the best version of you. Notice, not the best version to compare to someone else, but the best version of you. And so one of the things I've all been doing for quite some time, and if you want to learn more about my world and what I teach and what I do, check out my podcast, The Mindful Experiment, which I have now over 470 episodes. I've been doing this for quite some time. And I felt a calling last year to start to reach out to chiros and help elevate the profession. Because the one thing that was the most mind-boggling for me, as I started to work with chiropractors, reaching out, connecting, doing consultations and so forth, but potentially having one-on-one coaching with them, is I started to find out that chiropractors are extremely subluxated in their mind when it comes to business, when it comes to the principles of what they want to live by and achieving true fulfillment. I mean, let's face it. Besides massage therapists, we are one of the lowest poverty and scarcity type thinking mindsets in professions. Think about that for a second. We have a poverty mindset. So that's also known as a scarcity mindset or a limited mindset. Most chiropractors come in this. That's the matrix of chiropractic. That is the overall essence of what we do. That's why a chiropractor who makes 200, 300,000 a year is considered to be in the top 1% to 2%. Now, for some people, you may go, man, that's a lot of money. I love it. For some others, docs are going, that's freaking low as hell. And I know docs that make 4 or 5 times that. And I know docs that make a fraction of that. But at the end of the day, we really come from this aspect of poverty mindset. That's just where our profession is. It's subluxated. The other aspect we see, and I've seen this in business and other things, but I see it in our profession too, is that we're always looking outside ourselves for something new to help us elevate, right? Get this equipment, make this much more, and it blows up your practice. Oh, great. I'm going to do it because I'm chasing $1. And the problem with that, and I did this, I've shared this in the podcast. I've done this myself where I let go of values. I let go of things that mattered most to me as being a chiropractor in the essence of what mattered most as treatment plans, what being strict on them. Here's what it is, and this is how I can help you. And if you're interested, then let's do it. If not, then there's other chiropractors who'll be more lenient for you. Because there's not every chiropractor is designed to serve everybody. This is why we have this whole thing about competing with others and all these other things. Like, it amazes me when I'm at board or, state stuff, association stuff, and we'll talk about certain stuff. And I'm hearing about how most of the time people who report a chiropractor to the board is not a patient. It's mostly the chiropractor. So there's infighting and all these other things. And when we got to look at our profession, and it's like, yeah, that's scarce. That's all a part of scarcity mindset. I remember when I first started out, there was like 20-something chiropractors around the area that was, and it's a small town. It wasn't that big. And I had people in the business chamber, the chamber was telling me, why would you want to open up here? There's so many chiropractors. Okay. This is people just in the business world. And my response at 26 years old at the time was, you can line up 100 chiropractors and we still can't serve this community well. I said that at 26, I'm almost 40. I say the same thing again. There is no difference here. People are going to be attracted to the chiropractor based on their personality and who they are. So what's this podcast about today? The thing is that we're subluxated in our mind when it comes to our business, fulfillment, and so much more. When I say we're subluxated means a miscommunication, right? It's a disconnection. I don't want to say disconnection. It's a miscommunication between the brain and body. Things are not communicating properly in some way, shape, or form. That's how I teach it to my patients. And for some of my patients, I can go a little further and talk about consciousness and I can get even deeper into those elements. But that's a whole nother story for another time. And if you guys are interested in this, email me and let me know if you'd like to know more about those kind of topics. I'll bring those up and how I share things. But here's at the end of the day, we look at there's a miscommunication. So, and with that miscommunication, when I say chiropractors all have it, I'm not talking specifically a subluxation and the basis of that and we all have subluxations. That's not where I'm coming from. Where I'm coming from is I'm using the word subluxation as a sense of miscommunication. Is kind of like a disconnect in a sense that you are not connected to source, your soul, your purpose, your vision, why you exist. We're subluxated. And so what happens when we have disconnection is we have to seek outside ourselves to fill that void, to try to fill that disconnection. And you see this in the profession. Our profession is very egocentric. What that means is there's a lot of people out there, and I'm not bashing my profession. I love it for what I do. I love chiropractic, and I'm a big fan of chiropractic in many ways. That's why I do this podcast, try to elevate it. But there's a lot of bashing and who's right, who's wrong, whose system's the best, who's the best person here, the best person there. And the problem with these kind of things is that you don't find what's the best for you. You're going to find something that helps you elevate, but are you really keeping that individuality? And I've talked about this many times before in other podcasts where it talks about groups and things like that. But at the end of the day, you have to look at yourself and really be truthful to yourself. Is there a void? Is there a disconnection? Is there a subluxation in how you think and how you process, how your values, your cores, and your visions, and so much more? Because when you have that, you seek outside to fill, right? It's just like some people have misery loves company. Why does misery love company? Is that a true statement? It actually is. Because when you're miserable or you're unhappy, you want people around you to distract you from paying attention to the misery. And as long as you have that distraction, it doesn't affect you as much. Same thing when people have a void, the endless hunger to keep growing, the endless hunger, right? Well, enough is not enough. If I'm not making more money, I'm not growing as a person and a human being. So I should be making more money and growing and expanding and yada, yada, yada. What's your satisfaction? It's amazing when I say this because some people think that I don't care about growth, and I do. And I'm not saying you won't make more money, but what's your satisfaction rate at? Where are you going to be satisfied? Where are your needs going to be fulfilled to where you can be like, hey, everything else is taken care of. I don't need anything else. You see, because if you have a void, you're like most people in the business world then, and I see this often where it's like, you got to keep growing, you got to keep expanding, you got to keep making more, you got to keep doing this. And I'm going to go to this level, I'm going to go to this level. And that's a subluxation. You're filling a void. There's something inside you, subconsciously speaking, that was probably from 0 to 5, 0 to 6, maybe even 7, that is driving that. And here's an example. I'm the overachiever type, right? I always wanted to get my parents' attention. They were busy with work and living life and doing what they were doing. I seeked to get their attention. I didn't get what I needed, so I became there's a lot of things that showed up from that, but one of them was becoming an overachiever, an overperformer, going beyond, always doing more, never stopping, never smelling the roses. And this has been like a 10-year journey for me to break that. It wasn't easy. And I think sometimes it still sneaks up on me. It does. I'm going to be honest. I have no problem. I mean, it's a lifelong journey. I'm going to be working on this. But at the same token, there's a level I've learned now, and I did this in the last 3 years of my practice, where I said, where would I be successful? How would I define success? Because before I was the 7-figure practice doc who was making all this excess money, 60-40, 70-30 margins, profit margins, and all this other stuff. I had that all in my head. And it was coming to a point where I was like, I don't think that matters anymore. Where will I be happy? What would I enjoy? What will get me excited to wake up every morning and never be bored? And that was serving kids, serving pregnant women, serving the public, and educating and guiding them and inviting them to the chiropractic world, to a holistic world, and what I taught and how I approach things. That was the principles for me, and that was important for me. And that's what I did every single day that got me excited. And I still, getting back into things now, after taking about 1.5 years off, getting back into the profession and from a serving perspective and looking at ways of how I can serve and help. It's very important for me to do that. And so when you're looking at these elements, again, it's that satisfaction, the void that we fill. We're always looking outside instead of looking within. We're subluxated in many ways. And it's time to start unsubluxating yourself and start to look within and find what really matters. First off, the first thing you start with is what's your vision? It's the biggest thing to do. I tell people this all the time. It's so overlooked because here's the thing. The stuff that's complicated and it has a little label on it that you never heard before, and it's all these different systematic processes, and it's a cookie cutter system, and this is how you do things. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with them. But the issue with it is it's complicated. There's a lot of things to it, right? When I always say, when you speak truth, it's simple. My message has never changed in the last 15 years. It hasn't. You have to have a vision and a focus and a purpose. It's all the same thing. Sole purpose, a vision. You have something that you're passionate about, that you're serving, that gives you more to life than just monetary material things. And so when you think about that for a second, that's something that's the first thing. Why do you exist? My clients, I always tell them, why do you exist? Why are you here on this world? Now I tell people you don't have to have the exact answer, and that answer is going to change as you evolve, because you're going to evolve as an individual. You're going to see things differently. You're going to have different perspectives from the knowledge and the experiences that you got. You're going to have more wisdom, and with more wisdom, you're going to start to see in different perspectives. And with that is going to allow you to dive deeper into that element of why I exist. So when you start to look at those things from that perspective, this aligns everything else for you. You're not subluxated because you're aligned to your vision. And then everything you do from there is going to be in alignment to the vision. And now you're not subluxating yourself. Now you're not going on, you buy this something, or you do this thing, or you get that. You hire this company. Yeah, you're making 20,000 more a month. Yeah, you're making 40,000 a month. But is it really all about the money? And if it is, that's great for you. But if you're looking for fulfillment, they say if you follow what you love, the money follows what you love. Like if you go after what you really love doing, the money will just come. It will follow. It's life energy. It's going to do that. This is not me just saying that. It's quantum physics. It's been proven from an energy perspective, from a frequency perspective, from a law of vibration and universal laws. All this stuff has been proven. So what I'm sharing with you is scientific. It's not something that's just a spiritual realm or something I just thought was sounding cool from some ancient wisdom 5,000 years ago. There's a lot of science to this now that backs a lot of these things up. And so you have to tie that in. So the whole point of why I'm sharing all this is to get into the aspect of marketing, right? Because you have to have that vision and be crystal clear. Because then once you're clear with that, then you know how to market yourself. And I'm going to tell you guys, some people say, I don't market. We spend no dollars on marketing. I used to say the same thing. You spend dollars on marketing. If you have a website, you're spending dollars on marketing. There's time and resources and energy you're putting into things to market yourself. So there is that. Even though it may not be the dollar amount, because some guys have Kairos have pride to that. And I did too. So I know how that goes. But it's one of those things now that it's really not about that. It's about actually looking at and saying to yourself that, this is it, you're putting energy into some sort of marketing, but how do you want to market yourself as an individual? How do you want to market yourself as a chiropractor? What's the things that are unique to you, right? And there's a whole thing on that. And I can talk more about this on another episode with the laws of marketing and how these laws you have to follow. It's just because of what you're doing. And I can get into all those kind of things, but at the end of the day, it's marketing in the essence of utilizing things to do that. And one of the things I do for my clients is, and I've been helping them out since now January, is how to utilize ChatGPT in a basic way, in a simple way. You should be if you're not using AI in your business right now, you're missing out. And I don't mean missing out in the sense of creating FOMO. So many people do that and they have a great way of showing you that. I just mean making your life easier. Like as of today, doing this podcast, I have 5.5 weeks of marketing content for my coaching business done already. What I mean by done is videos and reels have been created. The posts have been created. The caption has been created. Hashtags have been created, and they all been scheduled. 5.5 weeks. Can't beat that, right? And it took me maybe 6 hours. So it takes me like an hour a week to do marketing, and I'm done. And that's it. Before it took a lot more, but now due to AI, it makes my life so much easier, and I utilize it. And how do I utilize from AI for other things? But at the end of the day, you got to be marketing in some way, shape, or form that aligns with your vision, right? So I'm a pediatric chiropractor. I'm big in the prenatal, in pregnancy. I'm big into infertility. Those are 3 things that are my core. Doesn't mean that's all I do. I'm also big into helping adults get out of pain and rebalance and restructure their spine and do CBP and Pedibond and Clear Institute type scoliotic type work, or just use stuff that I've learned from there. And have the structural side, because I love that, because I have a very strong left brain, right? So you got to appease what matters to you. I love taking puzzles and problems and solving them. I love doing it. So if I get someone who's very, scoliotic or has, structural issues that need to be done, I love putting the work to that and coming from a tonal subluxated based approach with corrective exercises and systems that patients appreciate. But then at the same time, I love working with kids and neurodevelopment and helping their brain, their gestational age and their brain age be at the same level. And I'm able to test that and show that to the parents, which they get blown away by, and then be able to also help out, empower women through pregnancy, because empowerment is very important to me. And in today's world, women are so heavily I feel like there's just an attack on them in so many ways when it comes to their health and not giving them the power. There's a change in that happening very much, and it's happening faster and faster, which I'm happy to see. But you got that perspective. And then there's the other side of lack of empowerment, right? Because I'm all about empowerment. That's part of my one of my things. And it's being able to empower couples to know that they can have a baby naturally. You don't have to go through IVF. It's not that your body's frail or broken. Female and male, they're both. Last time I read studies on it, it was 40% on each side and 20% both of them. And so it's one of those things when you look at those studies that, again, it's the issue that's on. And I only take those on because it lines with my purpose and vision to help individuals rediscover their greatness. And that's the end of the day, what matters most to me. So at the end of this video, or this episode, what I want to share with you is that, number one, you want to be able to be very crystal clear on what your vision is. Number two, you want to make sure your marketing aligns to that vision, right? You notice my theme was empowerment, right? Rediscovering someone, my vision in life and why I exist is to help raise the consciousness levels of individuals to help them rediscover their greatness. And empowerment is a big thing in that. That's why my business is called Empower Your Reality. It's also why I have a phoenix on there, because the phoenix is the death of one thing to rebirth of another. It's going through a death process of what your old conditions and programs were to allow you to be reborn and renew into the true element of who you are. So you can see the alignment in those practices, and that's the importance of having alignment and being unsubluxated in your practice, in your business. The logo that I had for my practice when I first had my business was called the Wellness Path, and what it was a spiral, and it had the words in the middle of it, but it was a spiral. Now, the reason why we had a spiral is because life is circular and it's infinite. That spiral keeps expanding and growing as we evolve and never ends. So there's a spiritual component to that. The other thing about wellness is if we look at the components of life, mind, body, and soul, and how when we put those three in like a Trinity type of effect, when we put those three together, we're all on this path going through this thing called life. And some paths are shorter and longer than others. But the key factor is how to help elevate the path to really awaken on your journey. Because when I work with people, it's an individual experience. And I mean that not just saying, well, every chiropractic adjustment is an individual experience for that person and blah, 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 blah. No, it's an individual experience of what they're coming in with everything and how I can help assimilate through that process to help them elevate in what they do and how they are. And so when we have my chiropractic office, there was so much alignment to those principles and empowering and elevating and all those kind of things. When you look at your practice, it's the same thing. What does these things align? You can start to see how I connect the dots, and everything is all interconnected. Because let's face it, when you are unsubluxated, your body works more at ease. When your mind is unsubluxated, your life works better at ease. You attract more of the things that you want to manifest at ease, which you desire. Because let's face it, you're always manifesting and you're always attracting. That never ends. You'll never be able to get out of that. So it's more of understanding, stopping the resistance, creating that alignment. So then you're resisting what you really want. And instead, you remove that more at ease to get what you want. Because just like the brain, attraction works, the law, the path of least resistance. And so you want to be able to make sure that you're limiting that resistance to what it is you desire. I hope this helps. And if this is inspiring too, and this is a different thought process, and you're like, man, I really like this, what I've been sharing here, let's have a conversation. I do a free call. It's about 30 minutes. We dive deep into you, your elements. There's an application you have to fill out, and you can book and schedule an appointment just to have a conversation. You just go to callwithdrvic.com. It's simple as that. You'll see a video of me talking about my coaching stuff. You'll see some testimonies in there, and then you'll have a chance. There's a little form right in the middle to fill out. Once you click, it'll send you over to book an appointment with me to go ahead and just have that consult. So if you're ready to elevate, because I only take specific people, so this is what this is meant for, is those individuals that truly want to elevate and have fulfillment in their life. Yes, there is monetary growth with majority, and if not all, actually all the clients I've ever worked with, monetary growth does come. But like I was talking to one of my clients just yesterday, and we were talking about growth and change. And I said, are you the same person you were 6 months ago working with me? And they were like, dude, I'm a whole different person. I said, how do you react? Totally different. What's your first thought response when you do things? Totally different. I said, that's true transformation. Now, the growth has been happening, may not be happening where he wants to yet, but the growth will come because he as the individual will change, which means his vibration change because his reactions are different. His belief is different. And when you start to do that, you set the foundation for quantum leaps. And it's just a matter of time before it happens. And so that is, if that sounds like something that you want to have in your practice, or maybe you're thinking about starting up your own and you need some for guidance, or if you're an associate and you're looking to eventually start on your own, it's always great to have a coach before you just jump in. I know I had a coach before I jumped in, and it saved me thousands upon thousands, 10x minimum what I paid for the coach, 10x he saved me. And so if you're interested, call with drvic.com. Thank you as always again for tuning in. Please, please, please do me a favor. Share a review on the podcast if you enjoy it. And if you thought this was inspirational, share with other chiropractor, someone you know can benefit from this. I greatly thank you for tuning in. And until next time,